The Thundersport GB motorcycle racing series is in its 6th year and is becoming a real success. And in this show here, well, we're at Snetterton for round 3 of the 2013 championships, featuring 4 classes. We've got some great racing action coming up for you. Welcome to Thundersport Plus. So yes, here we are then at Snetterton in Norfolk for the next round of the Thundersport GB Championships. We've got 4 races coming up for you today in this show here on Motors TV. And first up on circuit should be the Rd3 Clothing Golden Era Superbikes and the Sparklight Racing Golden Era Supersport, a championship that was brought into Thundersport GB last season. And this year, the grids have just got bigger and bigger. What a championship this has been so far as well. Lots of competition. Reigning champion Lee Reevely, unfortunately not here, injured at the moment. He lost the feeling in his left hand, so we wish him all the best. Hopefully he goes on and is okay. Don Plain is on pole. We just saw him a moment ago, number 33. 22, Chris Norris is there on his Aprilia. Second on the grid. Third for Rob Wilson on the Kawasaki, number 57. Rob has had a couple of wins to his name already this season. Doesn't necessarily get off to the greatest of starts, Rob, but you'll tend to see him pushing forward in the latter stages. And there is Richard Blunt. Richard coming into Snetterton, his local circuit, as the championship leader. Now, he's spent most of the season on the Suzuki 750. He has, for this race anyway, switched over to his Kawasaki. So, Richard out there on the Kawasaki ZX7R. Looks like we're ready to go. It's the Snetterton 200 layout circuit. It's slightly different from the old Snet layout, but as we turn into Richie's there, it looked like Rob Wilson got off to a good start, as did number 33, Don Plain, as the 750s, the 1000s and the 600s all hammer down into Montreal. It is Don Plain that gets out into the lead as they make their way onto the Bentley Straight. Few riders there. Just it's very, very difficult mid-pack at Montreal to get any clear space. There's a couple of the Suzukis. I can see Mick Everett there, number 5, sort of mid-pack, but it's Don Plain that leads, 33 from 57. Rob Wilson. Wilson is second in the championship coming into this event. Don Plain down in 8th, but he's having a good weekend so far. And just looking back there, that number 21, the red Ducati, that's Lee Longdon. Lee out there on the Ducati 748, the Moto Italia Racing Ducati 748, the 27-year-old. And he's actually got a MotoGP wildcard to his name in the past. I can see Adam Sheriff in there as well, number 911 on the yellow and white Honda 600. He's competing in the Super Sport class, and Richard Blunt is just tagging on to the back of Rob Wilson now for the battle for second place. Across the line to complete another lap, there's Don Plain. He leads from number 57 on the green Kawasaki. Rob Wilson, Richard Blunt there, the green, white and red. Number 13 Kawasaki, the Kawasaki France colours, and Blunt's having a look around the outside there. It's not a move that would usually work. Further back I can see 161 Mark Evans going through there, a former Thundersport 500 champion. There's number 94 Phil Page, who off circuit helps out Thundersport GB quite a lot, but at the front it's between these 3, the Aprilia there of Don Plain, and he's just opened the door a little bit, and Rob Wilson flies through to take the race lead as they head up towards the bomb hole now. It's Wilson from Don Plain, and there is Richard Blunt in 3rd place. Richard, originally from Elvedon, which is, well, you could probably throw a stone from here into Elvedon, just down the road, so he's looking for a good result on home turf. Chris Norris there, number 22 on the black and red Aprilia, just looking to close down and maybe get himself involved in the battle for the podiums up ahead. Chris Norris coming into this weekend 5th in the championship. No real need at the moment to take to to look at the championship standings too much, because it is early days. We've got a long, long way to go. But at the moment, Rob Wilson is just trying to break away now from Don Plain, who's got company. It's Richard Blunt there in third, Chris Norris in fourth. Further back, there's number 63 and number 10, 63 Chris Dixon. Number 10 is another local rider, 62-year-old Ted Hurst. Nice to see Ted out there on home turf, and a few other riders going through that. I can see Nigel Davis, who's back with us, a former Street Fighter B competitor. Back to the front though, as they exit Nelson. It is still Wilson that leads, and now this man here in fourth place really is starting to claw back some time. His lap times are down in the 17s, and he's fast becoming the quickest man on the circuit. 53 going through into the bum hole is Paul Maxfield, and they're battling for some of the remaining points down in 15th and 16th. But across the line to complete another lap now, and Rob Wilson, well, he's put in a decent lap there, a 17.9. He's just pulling away. Blunt still in second. Don Plain has fallen back to third, but Chris Norris is definitely a part of this fight now. Norris's lap time, as he went across the line, was a 1:17.5, so he's the quickest man on the circuit at the moment. Keep your eyes on number 22, and he's gone past Plain already. So Plain is falling back, the man that set the fastest time during qualifying. They head down the Bentley Straight, and Don Plain's chances of winning this race are just disappearing right in front of his very eyes. It's Wilson that they've got to try and chase down now. We've seen this before from Wilson at Donington Park. He had an early lead, and he was hunted down in the closing laps. Norris, the fastest man on circuit, then Don Plain there, who started on pole, has fallen back to fourth place. The battle for the Super Sports, I should just mention, Lee Longdon, Rick Owen and Adam Sheriff are the top three. They're actually 5th, 6th and 7th respectively on circuit. Not bad considering they're majorly down on power compared to the four riders up ahead of them. As you just see again there, Plain going across the line. It's still Wilson that leads. Number 57, the 41-year-old from Immingham on the Endertech Kawasaki. Multiple club race wins in his time. And just behind him, Richard Blunt on the Portico Racing Kawasaki ZX7R. There's Phil Page again, number 94 on the Chicken Shack Kawasaki, known as Reg Prentice in the paddocks is Phil. Coming up on some traffic though, the leaders now, as they just filter through Brundle and Nelson, and it's still Rob Wilson, but that gap seems to have closed. And Richard Blunt is hunting down now, and Don Plain takes advantage of the leaders just going past the back marker there and moves up ahead of Chris Norris again. So Norris has got some catching up to do. Chris Norris, a championship winner in his time. He was the New Era Sound of Thunder champion in 2009 on the CRN Racing Aprilia. Just turned 40, rider from Stockport. But as we go on to the start-finish straight now, the lead of Rob Wilson has disappeared. They tip into Ritchie's. They're coming up on some more traffic. 47 is Dean Pollard. It's still, that's the battle for third. The white 33 of Don Plain ahead of Chris Norris. But Rob Wilson, having built a healthy lead, this is definitely looking like it's going to be an 8-wheel fight for 25 points in the RST Clothing Golden Era Superbikes. Lee Longdon has got around about a 3 or 4 second lead over Rick Owen for the Super Sport class, as the leaders now exit Nelson up towards the bomb hole. Nice to see a new grandstand been put in at the bomb hole. Great viewing area there. The old grandstand used to be able to see almost all of the circuit, but it's nice to see a couple of new grandstands that have been put in place here in Norfolk. One at the bomb hole and one just here as they tip into Murray's. You'll be able to see it in the background. There it is. Rob Wilson just losing time through Murray's, the final turn here, formerly known as Russell's, of course, when it was a chicane. Luckily for Rob, though, the last lap flag is out. There's some traffic up ahead. What's going to happen now as they tip into Ritchie's? Rob Wilson trying to hold on to this lead. It's going to go right down to the wire, and look at Richard Blunt. He's looking pretty hungry, isn't he? As they tip down now into Montreal, it's going to be a close run thing. It's still Wilson just, but does he realise that he's got company? Richard Blunt early on the power. Look at the drive he's got out down the Bentley Straight here, and I'm not sure he even needs the slipstream as they head down and into Brundle. Ooh, Blunt had a little look, didn't quite work out for him. Still, just Wilson the lead. We've only got a little way to go here now. Into the bomb hole, then around Coram Curve and into Murray's. And, well, Rob Wilson's got to have his wits about him here, because Blunt will have a look at him at some stage, whether it's got to be in the last corner, surely. Here we go then, as we turn into Murray's for the final time, and surely Richard Blunt's going to have a look. Or is he? He's just going to have to try and get some decent drive. And Rob Wilson, has he missed a gear? Something's gone horribly wrong. And Blunt has sailed past him. As they go on to the start-finish straight, Blunt's got the win. And Chris Norris is going to get second. It is. Blunt wins here at Snet on home turf. What a disaster on the centre straight for Rob Wilson, the long-time race leader. And he may well have his hands on his hips. What went wrong there? Blunt takes the win. Norris was rewarded of second place and Wilson in third. Don Plain fourth, Dixon fifth and Graham in sixth place. And there is the happy local hero on the top step, Richard Blunt. And the Golden Era Super Sport, it was Lee Longdon that took the victory ahead of Rick Owen. Sheriff in third ahead of Spink, Strafford and Evans. And you can see there Lee Longdon in the middle, very happy with his 600 win.
Lee Longdon, winner of the Super Sport 600 Golden Era. Do you love that?
Yeah, I really enjoyed that race then. Pushing hard from start to finish. You know, it was an absolutely fantastic race then.
Well, it looked really good fun anyway. Anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, I want to thank all the, my family for all the support this weekend, my dad, my brother. I'd like to thank MotoGB for the aero helmet this weekend. I just want to do the next one, another one in the next race.
Excellent, very well done, Lee.
Thank you very much. See you later.
Richard Blunt, well, what a weekend you're having, man. You obviously know your way around this track.
Yeah, surprisingly, although it's my local track, I haven't been here that many times. But we started off in the Kawasaki in qualifying yesterday and had a few problems, so we went back to the Suzuki. But we seem to have got all the teething problems out of the way, and we've got a few more little adjustments, but we're getting the time, so really happy, really, really happy.
So you were on the Suzuki or the Kawasaki then?
In this race I was on the Kawasaki, yesterday I was on the Suzuki, so it's the first time we've ever taken the bike out, so it was a bit hit and miss and a bit of a close one to call to take the bike out, having never tested it. So
I knew you had a few concerns about that. Who would you like to thank, Richard?
Massive thanks to DB Telecoms, to Equine Motorcycles. We've spent so many hours trying to get this bike set up for this meeting, and Eric, who works there. Portico Sport, who supplied the bike and helping us for the season, and all the pit crew and everybody there. We've got Rocco helping us out this year as well. Massive thanks to them. And Dan Pearson and everyone else who came, the girlfriend. It's real big thanks to everyone.
Great stuff there for Richard. We're going to take a quick break, but join us again for the Motodex Pre-National 600s. Welcome back to Snetterton for Thundersport Plus. It's the Thundersport GB Championships for 2013 here in Norfolk. And next on circuit, the Motodex Pre-National 600s, another new class that was added to the roster last season. James Shaw on pole position on the Kawasaki. Nice to see Jamie Morris back with us. Photographer, nice to see Jamie at Snet. He always turns up for the odd round, and well-presented bike there for number 199, second on the grid. Third on the grid, Paul Westerdale, who is starting to make a name for himself in this class, number 94, there on the Kawasaki. And just on the outside of the front row, number 73, definitely a championship contender on the Yamaha, David Brook, who runs his own suspension company. So should have the setup all sorted out, ready for this race. The Pre-National 600s then, a class for riders who are yet to attain national status on their ACU licenses. It could mean that they are complete novices. It could mean that they've been racing for a couple of years, but they've just not quite got the signatures to become a national license holder. And down into turn one, it's going to be James Shaw from pole position. That takes the lead. Look at these 600s heading down into Ritchie's, a grid of 36 riders. We actually had some 42, 43 going into qualifying, but a couple have bitten the dust as the riders head into Montreal, all trying to make it through there and keeping it upright. But yeah, 36 bikes out there, plenty to keep our eyes on down the back straight. The orange bibs, as I mentioned, for riders that are complete novices in their first seasons of racing. It's David Brook then that leads. He's certainly got the suspension sorted out. 73 on the Yamaha leads out of Nelson and into the bomb hole. James Shaw in second place, and then it's Morris in third and Westerdale in fourth place as we head around Coram Curve. James Shaw has been the quickest rider throughout the weekend. His lap times have been sensational around Snetterton. Must be a massive fan of this circuit. He doesn't live nearby, I should point out, Manchester-born rider, but he's going well. Number 73, though, it is that leads David Brook into Ritchie's. Oh, and Paul Westerdale, number 94, just sliding the Kawasaki up into third position. Paul Westerdale, the 24-year-old from Leicester, on the PW Racing Kawasaki. A number of riders trying to join in the fun there. It's Don Gilbert, number 34, who's climbing up through as well. Don, one of the younger riders in this class, 21, on the QED Property Yamaha, rider from Crawley, sponsored by Raven Oil. That's a mouthful. 73 it is that leads, though, David Brook, who started the season so well at Brands Hatch, got himself a nice lead in the championship. He's just lost a little bit in the last couple of rounds, and James Shaw, who's in second place there on the green and black Kawasaki, has got himself into the lead of the championship. So it looks as though this season's going to be between these two, and David Brook, we saw it earlier on in a race, David Brook just struggling to get the power down on the Yamaha on the exit of Murray's, and that's just allowed James Shaw to carry the momentum, and surely now he will move up into the lead, into Ritchie's. He does. So a little mistake there from David Brook has cost him the lead. Third place is still 199 Jamie Morris. It's further back, a number of riders heading through there. I just saw a glimpse of number 80, Asa Webb. Asa's first weekend on the 600, so he's going well, trying to pick up some points. And 63 there was Michael Mace. And it's James Shaw that leads from David Brook. They tip around the bomb hole and then on the gas again, flat out on your knee all the way around Coram Curve. Still Morris in fifth place, sorry. So that is actually Will James that's got himself up there. There is Jamie Morris, number 199, just behind Paul Westerdale. Back to the front, that's James Shaw and David Brook. And in third place, that is Adam Clark, number 87, the reigning Thundersport 500 champion here, as he just closes in on David Brook. So Adam Clark, the reigning champion, obviously not got his national licence just yet. Now, both he and James Shaw, and in fact David Brook, they also have entered the season in the Sportsman Elite 600 class, which is more competitive. So if you don't have a national licence, you can still enter the more competitive Sportsman Elite 600 class. It's just that if you have a national licence, you can't go the other way. So clearly, Shaw, Brook and Clark this season just looking to get their racecraft sorted out, as we've got a retirement now at the end of the back straight. And just pulling out of this one is number 8. That's Paul Cunvin. So another retirement in this race. That's Paul Cunvin, Charlie Oakland and Will James out of it. James Shaw it is that leads from Adam Clark. Now, where has David Brook disappeared? Number 73, he's fallen back. Clark is on a mission at the moment, the reigning Thundersport 500 champion. We've lost David Brook. He has gone missing. So one of the championship protagonists out of this race. There's number 64. And he's another one of the riders looking for a top 10 finish this year, Michael Tustin from Evesham. But at the front then, it's going to be between James Shaw, the championship leader. He has a big look over his shoulder there. He'll be able to see one of the back markers, and he should be able to see also Adam Clark, who's closing in on him. Further back, the battle between third and fourth, still between number 199, Jamie Morris, and number 94, Paul Westerdale. And then further back, it's Don Gilbert, 34, ahead of Josh Hill, who's having a great race, ahead of Ryan Warren and Anthony Charlie. Onto the start-finish straight we come then. James Shaw, number 4, the rider from Manchester, coming up against Adam Clark, and it's last lap time now. Adam Clark looks to be the quicker man, and as they tip into Ritchie's, you can visibly see that the Yamaha R6 there of Adam Clark is on a mission. They head down into Montreal. Jamie Morris looks safe in 3rd, but James Shaw now has to pull the pin. He has to put in his fastest lap because Adam Clark is the fastest rider on that last lap. Shaw needs to bring in one of the laps that he put out on lap 2. He got a 1:16.2, which is 3/10 quicker than Clark, but at the moment he's struggling, and Clark has got his eyes on a victory here. It would be Clark's first win of 2013. Of course, winning the 500 championship last year, and they've got some traffic up ahead. That might be disastrous for the 2 leaders. And we're going to come into Murray's now, and they're coming right on the traffic, and this could be the chance now for Adam Clark to pounce. And they go on to the start-finish straight, and that has not worked out well at all for James Shaw. And as they go on to the start-finish straight, Adam Clark has taken full advantage. And once again, we've just seen 2 races on the trot where it can all go wrong on the final straight. And look how happy Adam Clark is with that, number 87. Well, it just shows you've got to fight all the way until the end. My word, there's some delight going on inside the helmet there of Adam Clark. Over the moon with his win. He takes it from probably a very disappointed James Shaw. Jamie Morris 3rd, Paul Westerdale 4th, Donald Gilbert in 5th, and Josh Hill in 6th. And there he is, the happy man, Adam Clark on the top step. Points then as we head into Cadwell. Shaw it is that leads from Brook, Westerdale 3rd, then Tustin, Daisley and Charlie.
Jamie Morris, 3rd place. Kept your nose clean?
Yeah, just about, yeah. Had a proper rubbish start to the weekend, sort of just struggling. Haven't ridden a bike since Mallory Park last year with no testing, so come here on Friday, struggled a bit with the weather. Yesterday, struggled again with a wet first race, and just starting to get there now. But the worst thing of the weekend's over now, so but I'm happy with 3rd.
Yeah, you got to be happy with that. Have you got some people to thank?
Yeah, like my dad especially. He helps me out, bringing the van, bringing the caravan, sorting out all the bikes and everything, and my family, sister, all my mates. And my missus at home, she couldn't come to that this weekend, but everybody else who comes and cheers me on.
Well done, mate.
Thanks
Top man.
Cheers.
James Shaw, well, you've had a fantastic weekend, and I must confess, I thought you were going to do it then again because you pulled away in the penultimate lap from Adam, but you must still be reasonably happy with 2nd place and the other results this weekend.
Well, I had a big crash in the race before, and it's just been a rush to get my bike sorted, so I was happy just to get out in the race. But I got robbed a bit. A back marker got in my way on the last corner, so. But the win's a win, and it beat me.
Have you got some people to thank?
Yeah, my mum and dad, girlfriend, Mark Fisher, Tom Fisher, all the boys who helped me get my bike ready to go back out in that race.
That's what it's all about. Well done, James.
All right then, thanks a lot.
Adam, you must be well chuffed with that because I know you were quite disheartened at the start of the weekend and you couldn't quite get everything together. So to put everything together this quickly and come away with a win, you must be delighted.
Yeah, I'm absolutely over the moon. I had a big accident in practice on Friday, high-sided, busted my thumb up, not like banged my head. So yeah, to put all the effort in from the team was absolutely fantastic. I think the elites earlier in the day helped me, got with the faster group in front, seemed to tag me along. So yeah, that really helped.
Excellent. You've got some people to thank, I'd imagine.
Oh, lots of people to thank, way too many, but thanks to all my sponsors, Dave Ogden, my mum, my dad, my nan, my girlfriend, just everybody that's helped out this weekend. Absolutely fantastic. Yeah, couldn't have done it without you.
Why do I think this is only the start? Well done, Adam.
Thank you. Cheers.
Yeah, keep your eyes out for number 87, Adam Clark, throughout the 2013 season. Quick break now, 2 races left. Welcome back to Thundersport Plus. It's time for the JHS Racing Super Twins and the Formula 400s, a class for 650 mini twins, Aprilia 450s and the Formula 400s. you'd be amazed how equal they all are. On pole position, number 66, Daniel Freer, more experienced rider out of the bunch that he's up against here. David Allingham, the teenage Ulsterman, next to him on the grid on an Aprilia 450, the Beemore Aprilia, the white and red livery for him in this race. The reigning Aprilia Super Team champion, Lewis Rollo, with a Valentino Rossi replica lid there on the front row. Number 8, looking focused after a poor Donington Park. And then Alex Baker on the end of the front row there, number 22. Nice to have Alex out there. As we entered this round, Ross Twyman had a 4-point lead ahead of Daniel Freer, and around about a 31-point lead Daniel had over David Allingham, but it's all changed a bit because we had some racing here yesterday and Ross Twyman had a bit of a mare, so he's lost a few points. So Daniel Freer on pole is also in pole position in the championship standings. Keep an eye out for the 400 of Aussie Made. He's going well so far, as well as Joe Sheldon-Shaw. And as they tip into turn 1, Daniel Freer has been on it all weekend here at Snetterton. Number 66 on the blue and yellow Kawasaki 650, the 29-year-old from Scunthorpe, and he leads from number 11, David Allingham. Another rider to keep an eye out for as well is Dan Harrison, number 38, who's been going very well indeed. Rider on the JHS Racing Suzuki 650 mini twin. So look out for Dan. Nice to have him back here at Thundersport GB. End of the back straight. Dan Freer has already got himself a nice lead in the early stages of this race, ahead of championship rival number 11, David Allingham. Then it's Harrison, then Rollo. Number 91 is Dave Butler. Good start for him. 15 there, Ross Twyman in the black leathers, just going underneath Alex Baker, who's not got off to the greatest of starts from 4th on the grid. He's down now in 6th or 7th place. So it's Freer that leads from David Allingham. I should tell you as well, these riders have been on lap record pace pretty much the whole way through. The lap record was a 1:19.023, held by the former Aprilia Super Team championship runner-up, in fact, Tom Oliver, 1:19.0. Well, already this weekend that has disappeared. David Allingham has got it at the moment, but Daniel Freer is knocking on the door. Freer there, then it is that leads from Allingham and Harrison. Then it's Rollo going through ahead of Twyman. Further back there's 75, Oddie Mady, Ben Luxton, Harry Coomber, and the two brothers there, the green and yellow helmet, Jamie and Luke Zachary from York, and they're side by side, maybe give each other a little wave on the back straight. That is a mum and dad's nightmare, seeing the two sons battling away down the back straight here at Snetterton. Daniel Freer it is that leads, number 66 on the NL Components and BTS Kawasaki 650. We've mentioned before that he's got British Championship experience, unlike the rider directly behind him, number 11, David Allingham, the 18-year-old from Northern Ireland. Just coming back, he's pretty much fully fit now from that broken collarbone that he sustained just before the start of the season. But look who's coming to join the party now on the JHS Racing 650 Suzuki. That is Dan Harrison. He wants in on the action. Pit boards going out, giving +0, which is the right information. And so we've got two 650s either side of the Aprilia 450, the more nimble of the three machines. And certainly through the tight and twisty parts here at Snetterton, he should have an advantage. But Dan Harrison moves up into second place, and the two 650s here are using the grunt and the slight power advantage, and it isn't a lot down the back straight. But David Allingham has got some decent drive, and it doesn't look like there's much to split them in terms of out-and-out speed as they go and tip into Brundle and Nelson. The more these two fight, the chance it is going to come to Daniel Freer to pull away out front. Further back there is the 13-year-old Scot, Lewis Rollo, the reigning Aprilia Super Team champion, just fighting away with number 15, Ross Twyman, who picked up actually 7 out of 8 race wins at Donington Park 3 or 4 weeks ago, but he's taken a few heavy tumbles this week, and if we get a chance to see him off the bike, you'll see him limping around the paddock. Back to the front we go, though. It's still Daniel Freer from Dan Harrison and Ross Twyman, and as we head down past the start-finish line, Dan Harrison puts in the fastest lap of the race, a 1:19.243. No surprises there. And Harrison looking to not only win this race outright, but also win the mini-twins. Second in the mini-twins at the moment is Dave Butler. We saw him earlier, number 91. And then there's a decent battle going on between 43, Alex Platt, 44, Lee Wainwright, for the remaining podium place in the mini twins. Ozzy Mady leading the 400 fight ahead of Joe Sheldon Shaw. Sam Smith is out there as well, so keep an eye out for Sam. But it's still Freer that leads. A change for second now as Allingham moves ahead. And this looks like it could be a pretty good lap from David Allingham as he looks to close down the more experienced rider up ahead of him, Daniel Freer. Surprising not to see the likes of Ross Twyman and Lewis Rollo sort of battling away for this race win overall, but it looks like they're going to have to settle for 4th and 5th place. Across the start-finish line we go, and that's the new lap record. It's a new lap record for David Allingham, a 19 flat. And David Allingham has taken the lap record again. The Ulsterman really on form here. That's a stonking lap on that Aprilia 450. And he's really closing in on Daniel Freer. Further back, there's number 95, Jamie Thackeray, ahead of Dean Court. Dean is having a really good season, actually. It's his first full season on the 450. Half of these circuits he's never seen before. And he really is improving with each lap. Freer it is that leads, Allingham in second. They've just managed to break away a little now from Dan Harrison in third, who's struggling to keep up with his lap record pace at the front. I wonder, you know, if Dan Freer might respond with a decent lap of his own. There's Lewis Rollo, number 8, ahead of Alex Baker, number 22. That's the battle for 5th and 6th place. We've lost Jamie Thackeray, brother of Luke. Jamie Thackeray's gone missing. He went missing on lap 2 or 3. Further back there is number 43 and number 111. 43 is Alex Platt, 111 Sam Smith, and 48 there is Reese Hutchinson. They are all in 11th, 12th and 13th, and Sam Smith at the moment, second place in the 400s. Last lap flag out, and Dan Freer, what a lap that was, and I think David Allingham must have made a mistake somewhere along the line. Daniel Freer, a 118.834. He's taken the lap record. The lap record's gone twice in this race, and Freer has pulled the pin on the final lap, looking to extend his championship lead. That's the battle further back between Alex Baker, 22, and the JDF Racing Aprilia 450 rider of Ben Luxton, number 9, the rider from Stockport, and they're having a decent battle there. That is for 6th and 7th place. Points mean prizes, but it looks like 25 of the points are going to this man here, number 66, Daniel Freer. Well, where did he bring that lap out from? It looked like David Allingham was going to close in and we'd have a last lap thriller, but no such luck. Daniel Freer takes the win here in the JHS Racing Super Twins and the Formula 400s. He extends his championship lead, and he's got a lap record to take away with him also. David Allingham, solid 20 points for him in second place, and Dan Harrison does cross the line in third, which means that he has won the Mini Twins battle overall. In the background there, you can just see 93 and 74 going past. And I can tell you that number 74 is Talon Skills Piggins. So loads of action going on, but a decent win for Dan Freer, who wins on his Kawasaki 650 ahead of Allingham. Dan Harrison third, Twyman it was that took fourth ahead of Lewis Rollo, and Alex Baker in 6th place. And there are the top 3. In the Super Twins, it's Freer with Allingham and Twyman. In the Mini Twins, it's Dan Harrison, Dave Butler and Alex Platt. And in the 400s, well, we lost Sam Smith, which means it's Ozzy Mady that won ahead of Joe Sheldon Shaw. Points going into Cadwell then. Daniel Freer has got the advantage ahead of David Allingham, and Ross Twyman, he's gone from 1st to 3rd.
JHS Racing Super Twins winner, number 66. That's all I'm seeing, you first across the line.
Yeah, it's definitely going well. Like, the bikes are flying, and I don't know what to say. It's been a mega weekend so far, like.
Certainly has. You must have some people to thank.
Yeah, NL Components, Bass Tyres and Paul Borrell. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be racing this year, so it's cheers to them.
Well, you've done a fantastic job. Very well done, mate.
All right, thanks.
Dan Harrison, and you got first place in the Mini Twins and lap record, which you must be very pleased with.
Yeah, I'm over the moon really. I didn't expect it, just James and Will put a really good bike under me and just pushed as hard as I could. I managed to get third overall as well, which I'm really happy with.
Well, the bike insure a lap record bonus. There's 2 500 ones available, but at the end of the day, we'll see who's got the biggest margins.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the old lap record was, but I'm sure we'll have a look just to find out.
Okay, and who do you want to thank?
I've got a big thank you to William, James and everyone at JHS. Like I say, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here today. And a big thank you to Mum, Dad, all my family, coming all this way to support me. And glad I've got the job done for them.
Damn well done.
Thank you very much.
Aussie matey, nice to be up here again. That's worth the trip then, isn't it?
It's not bad, yeah. And yeah, just same as the first race really. First 3 or 4 laps, get my head down, try and get a good start, pull a gap to the next 400. And then just relax, to be honest. Towards the last half of the race, just held the gap and yeah, made it to the finish.
Excellent. Who do you want to thank, mate?
Yeah, my friends and family, my parents especially. A massive thank you to Andy Grimshaw for getting the engine ready in time. It's doing their job around here. It's unbelievably quick for a change. And then Shark Helmets, TCX Boots, Wiz Racing, Island Steam Packet Company, and everyone else who's contributed, no matter how big or small, to our racing.
Top job, well done, mate.
Thank you.
3 races gone, 1 to go, and it's time for race 2 for the Golden Era Superbikes and the Sparklight Racing Golden Era Super Sports. Welcome back to Snetterton for Thundersport Plus, and the final race of the day here is the Golden Era Superbikes and the Sparklight Racing Golden Era Super Sport. Don Plain on pole. Well, in that first race that we saw at the top of the show, he got off to a decent start but just fell behind the likes of this man here, Chris Norris, and then the 2 men in 3rd and 4th, Rob Wilson. Rob Wilson here, well, he'll be looking for a bit of revenge on himself, I think, more than anything else. He was leading for the majority of the race, and then on that final straight to the line, must have missed a gear or something went wrong, because it meant that Richard Blunt here, with the black HGAC helmet on, managed to take the win on home turf. It's a championship that looks like it's going to go all the way down to the wire, and it really has seen some close racing. Let's hope for another one here. The lights go out and away we go. The RST Clothing Golden Era Superbikes head down into Ritchie's. Looks like another good start from number 57, Rob Wilson, who should have got the whole shot there and looking to make amends after that race 1 disappointment. Lee Longdon, as we mentioned before, leader of the Super Sport class, number 21. Keep your eyes out for him. I can see Jason Dixon going through there, Paul Maxfield, a number of riders just making their way up into as many decent places as possible. Ted Hurst going through as well, number 10, but at the front it is Wilson that leads from Chris Norris, and that looked like Don Plain just running a bit wide there, number 33 on the white Aprilia, and that's allowed Richard Blunt to go through. So it's the same 4 men as we saw before, and there comes Lee Longdon on the 748 Ducati. He doesn't need asking twice, does he? The 748, the more nimble of the machines, and he's made up 2 places as he slams it up in the inside of Richard Blunt as well. So 2 of the Superbike riders there just being caught out, and here comes Sheriff as well. The Super Sport riders really getting themselves involved here, getting the elbows out. And look at the power difference though on the straights between the Superbike and the Super Sport. It's a good start for the 748 of Lee Longdon and the Honda CBR 600 of Sheriff, but they're being eaten alive on the start-finish straights. And there is the Sheriff, number 911, just going through ahead there of number 35, Rick Owen, a name that will be familiar to you if you followed racing around Great Britain in the last few years. And Tom Plain there making up a place and moving up to 3rd ahead of Richard Blunt, so they all seem to be tripping each other up at the moment. Mark Evans has just gone through. There is Jason Dixon, number 62. Jason on the TPS Property Maintenance Aprilia. But it's at the front now a change, because Chris Norris is leading the 2009 a New Era Sound of Thunder champion. He did enter the Thundersport Sound of Thunder class a couple of years back as well and was mighty competitive in that, but Rob Wilson has lost the lead. It's Chris Norris that leads, then Wilson 2nd, Don Plain 3rd, Richard Blunt 4th there with the green, white and red Kawasaki ZX-7R, and then just behind him the 748 Moto Italia Racing Ducati of Lee Longdon, multiple club winner of the BSB 125 race in his time as well. Back to the front though, it is Norris that leads from Rob Wilson. What will Rob Wilson be thinking after what happened in race 1. All Richard Blunt using all the circuit there and a bit of the dust as well. 74 is Davis just going through. There's Ted Hurst again, number 10. Ted's a rider that's, well, effectively, he's born and bred in Cambridge, but he's spent a lot of his time around this circuit. He knows it well. And there's going to be a change for the lead there. Good move from Rob Wilson, just letting off the brakes that little bit later and going around the outside of Chris Norris into Brundle, which gives him the inside line into Nelson. He takes the lead of the race ahead of Norris. Still Don Plain in 3rd place and Richard Blunt in 4th. But Richard Blunt, well, if he wants to win this race, he just needs to shrug off the battle that's going on behind him, because he cannot get rid of Lee Longdon on the 748 Ducati at the moment. Onto the start-finish straight for another lap. It is Rob Wilson that leads from Norris and Don Plain, and we've got a faller. We have a faller, and is that number 12? Yes, it is. Number 12, James Smith, has gone down. Shame for him. He's on the Yamaha R6, one of the earlier Yamaha R6 machines. He's gone down. He's out of this race. There's Lee Longdon still leading the Sparklake Racing Super Sport race, despite being 5th overall, ahead of Rick Owen and Chris Spink and Adam Sheriff. It's Rob Wilson that is once more a similar story really to race 1. We saw this happening. Rob Wilson leading for the majority of the laps before that last dash to the line, in which meant that Blunt took 25 points ahead of Norris. Norris looking quite comfortable there in 2nd place though. They're all lapping in the low 118s. There are no lap records at Snetterton 200 to look at the moment, because they've all gone this weekend. So any riders that get themselves into the 117 stand a chance at a lap record. It's still Wilson. In fact, that was a 117.9 from Wilson. A good lap for him as the front end wobbles a bit into Ritchie's. The top 4 doing well. Lee Longdon here on the 748 is doing really well. It's really down on power, and he's able to cling on for as long as possible. Further back, that's number 5, Mick Everett, former Street Fighter runner, and number 2, Sam Nicholson. They're in 14th and 15th place, battling for some points. Sam Nicholson is on the Yamaha R6 though, so he's going to pick up some Super Sport points. And this is a change now for 2nd place, and that is Richard Blunt moving up into 2nd ahead of Chris Norris now. So Blunt has obviously decided that now is the time to try and reel in Rob Wilson again. Don Plain is looking pretty good in 4th place there as well. So Norris has just lost a bit of momentum. Although I say that, he hasn't lost it for long, because he goes ahead of Blunt, but Blunt hangs it round the outside and has the inside line into Murray's as they go on to the start-finish straight. It is Wilson that leads, but he's got a nice lead. It's a good 2nd lead, I'd have said. Maybe, it's tough to say. That camera angle is a little deceiving. We'll see as they tip into Ritchie's. They're coming up on some traffic there. There is Rob Wilson. I'd say he's got about a 2nd advantage now over Richard Blunt and the rest of the riders. It's Chris Norris and Blunt really, really battling away. There's Mark Evans, number 161. He's tipping in ahead of 76, James Graham, and 62, Big Jason Dixon, who still maintains that he's the 2nd largest rider in the Thundersport GB. It's Phil Page just going through as well, up in 13th place. So Chris Norris then has fallen back to 4th place, and that means Don Plain is up to 3rd. Richard Blunt in 2nd now. He won that 1st race. Is he closing down on Rob Wilson? We're getting to the dying stages of this race now. There's not long to go. Rob Wilson, he's not going to do it again, is he? There's Don Plain then. He looks good for 16 points. Rob Wilson should have this in the bag as he just comes up to put a lap on Gareth Skinner. Tips into Ritchie's. He had a 9/10 of a 2nd advantage over Richard Blunt across the line, so he should be able to cruise home. Richard Blunt, though, is not going to give up on that Kawasaki ZX-7R in 2nd place, as we see Chris Spink going through there, number 42. He's currently in line for a podium of his own in the Super Sport class. Let's see if we can pan back as we look at Mark Evans there to the race leaders. Rob Wilson, 9/10. We've got a rider with his arm up. He's obviously out of the race. Is that 54 David Bird out of the race? Looks like he's got a mechanical problem. There is Wilson. I'll tell you what, that is not 9/10 of a second. And Rob Wilson will be relieved to see the checkered flag. He will One thing is for sure, he needs to make sure that he gets out of the final turn. Oh, and he's got held up into Corums, and this could be disastrous. 9/10 he had, and it's all gone again. They head down into Murray's. Well, he's got to get the drive because Richard Blunt will be after him. On to the start-finish straight. He's not... Oh, blimey, this is going to be really close across the line. It's not a carbon copy of race 1, is it? No, Rob Wilson is just going to hold on, but he doesn't half make life difficult for himself, doesn't he? Rob Wilson takes 25 points this time. Richard Blunt unlucky. A couple more laps, you know, and Richard Blunt would have had his name on another winner's trophy. It's Don Plain that took third, a second back on the two leaders. Chris Norris fourth, James Graham in 5th place, and Jason Dixon in 6th. And there is Rob, centre of the picture, with his son Max. Lee Longdon it is that won the Super Sports. A good race for him ahead of Rico and Chris Spink, Adam Sheriff, Ryan Strafford and Mark Evans. And there you see a very happy Lee, championship leader of the Super Sports in the middle. Going into Cadwell, it is Richard Blunt that leads. Nice advantage he's got over Rob Wilson, Chris Norris, Don Plain. Good championship this. Lee Longdon has the advantage over Adam Sheriff in the Super Sports. Ryan Strafford third, ahead of Nicholson, Docker and Davey.
Golden Era Super Sport 600, Lee Longdon, winner. Well done.
Thanks for that.
Did you find it a good race?
Yeah, it was really, really good race. For the first few laps, I was being able to stick up with the Superbike boys, but obviously being Snetterton, and it's a fast, slow track, just kept on gapping me lap by lap. So no, but it was a bit of a lonely race, but definitely one that I enjoyed anyway, for sure.
Well, you certainly had a good weekend. Have you got some sponsors to thank?
I haven't got any sponsors to thank, no. If anybody wants to sponsor me, I'm open for any offers.
Good stuff. Very well done, Lee.
I'd like to thank my dad and my brother for coming and helping me this weekend. Without them, I could have never done it. So thank you very much.
Proper man, well done.
Thanks, see you later.
Rob Wilson, winner Golden Era Superbikes. Lovely one. Good. I thought that was quite hard fought, actually.
Yeah, race 1, I thought I had it in the bag on the last corner and I lost the back end and come third. And I just thought I had visions of doing the same thing again in race 2, but I had a quick look behind, going onto the Revit straight. I knew there was right behind me, so I was just concentration and just not make a mistake on that last corner again. But a back marker played into my hands, I think, so luckily we got one in the bag.
You know what they say about Fabian Foray, shouldn't look behind.
I know, but you can't help it.
Who do you want to thank, Rob?
I'd like to thank Fred Robinson at C-Tech Electrical, Steve Doe at Endertech, Harry at Woodside Calf Gould for buying me some tyres, Willie Weir at the County Hotel, all the chaps at Rob Speed Motorcycles in Grimsby, and I can't remember the last one now, the two Marks and Pete at Haber Fabrication.
Excellent, well done, Rob.
Smashing, thank you.
Thank you, Max.
Cheers.
So from Norfolk we head to Lincolnshire and Cadwell Park on the bank holiday weekend of the 26th and 27th of May. If you can't join us for that, join us again here on Motors TV soon.